I'm live. Hello. I turned my thingy around so you'd have a nice sparkly background and I can be distracted by the television. I have my book. I have Perino over there telling me what to do and not telling me what to do and what not to do. It's quite demanding. I've got my sweater in case I get chilly. I hope I do because I love being chilly. Ugh. I got some 7 Up. I'm getting chilly right now. I hope some people will join me because I'm ready to read. I don't know how to put my shirt on. I don't know how to put my shirt on. Okay. I'm going to get more shirts that are exactly like this in case this one disintegrates. No, I wouldn't mind getting the exact same shirt, but in a different color. Everything the same except a different color than red. Like it could be green or dark blue. I like dark blue. When it comes to colors, well, I like many different colors, but I'm quite enamored with deep gem tones, very dark, rich colors. Then I also like pastels and things, but mostly I like really deep colors that don't hurt my eyes. If a color is too bright, then ouch. I put a little flower in my hair. I'm all ready to read. Oh, it says there are 4 people here. Can you hear me okay? I have my good microphone plugged in. So the sound should be coming through here. Hello, hello. And we're going to be reading chapter 10 of Clue of the Leaning Chimney. I really don't want to put my glasses on because they won't stay on. If they would stay on, they don't fall all the way off, but they fall down like this, and that's not comfortable. It's kind of squeezing my nose a little, and I talk like this and sound like Randy Travis. Hey, 2 people just left. How dare you? No, it's fine. I don't mind. So I'm just going to sit here for a bit. Ouch. Come on, arm. I'm just going to sit here for a bit and see what happens if anyone comes along, and then we'll do some reading. My floor is like a hill. I've realized that when I'm pointing the other way, it's hard to make when I'm like pushing my chair in because it's on wheels. I really have to work to push it because I'm going uphill. And now I'm trying not to go downhill and crash into my desk. Oh my God. Why 7 Up? So much better than Sprite. I don't like Sprite. They're supposed to be competitors or whatnot. So they're supposed to taste similar. I do not like Sprite at all. This reminds me of the hospital now, but not in a bad way. Many times I've been in the hospital and I'm not allowed to eat or drink anything. And then finally, when they're like, okay, you can have something, I go and get a 7 Up. And it tastes so good. I connect it with that. I remember being in the hospital and it's my first drink of something yummy for a while, like something other than ice chips. And then I'd take a sip and I'm like, oh man, that is amazing. Just amazing. So if anyone's here, say hello. I'm going to try to interact more. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, now, here's my remote control for my lights up there. I usually only use 2 settings, number 2 and number 8, because some of them, this one I don't mind right now because I'm just seeing it on the screen, but some of them I feel like I'm going to get a seizure. Let me go through them all. Hi, would you like to see the different settings on my fairy lights? Let me put like that so you can see it a bit better. So, okay, here's number 1. Well, that's okay. I think some of them it starts out, yeah, then it changes. At some point, it's going to start flashing horribly. That's why I don't like to use this one. Anyway, that's number 1-ish. Number 2 goes like that. No, excuse me. Oh, see, I don't like the way these are listed. I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not how I count, man. I count down, not across. So what did I'm just going to call it number 2. That, and then, okay, this is one that I don't know. Oh man, I can't even look at it in the screen. Seizure alert. Another seizure alert. These 2 are the devil. Bad, bad, bad. This one I use a lot. Number 2. Yeah, this is number 2, really. Number 2 and number 8 I use a lot. This is number 4, according to this. I don't see anything. Oh yeah, it just kind of goes. There's another one. And number 8 is just steady. So I only use this one. Hi, Samuel. I use this setting and I use this setting. But let's just try. Say a number between 1 and 8, please. I'll just leave it there for now. So I'm going to read chapter 10. Oh man, I can't stay in the same position too long. I'm going to read chapter 10 of The Clue of the Leading Chimney. I'm taking these things off. It drives me crazy because they just, see, that's how, let's see how long they stay up. I'm pushing them into my brain. This time they're staying up a little longer because I pushed them real hard. He used, Perino used that software that you mentioned, OBS or OSB. I don't remember, but we had to uninstall it because it was messing around with our camera when we wanted to go live last night. So I told him we had to uninstall it. I still have it in my downloads, but oh yeah, I got to change that. I can't look at that. I'm just going to keep it on this one. Yeah, we had to uninstall it. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different settings on it. We just figured out how to do that one little video, and now we don't feel like looking at it anymore. We're not into reacting, but we just thought it would be fun to do one, and we're never doing it again, Perino. We read books. We're not into reacting really. He thought it was kind of fun, but he's his mother's child and he's more into reading books. He finds that he's kind of old-fashioned like me, and he doesn't really understand videos of people watching other videos. We're like, we just don't get it, what the young people do. I don't know. Missing map. Oh yeah, that's the one you're doing. Are you going to finish the ones that you had started on your other channel? I think, what were you doing? Blackwood Hall, I think you were doing. Don't you have a couple that you haven't finished yet? A couple books? I have about a minute of goofs for Golden Pavilion. I don't want to mess up all the time, but it's fun to have a lot of goofs for the goof thing. Haunted Showboat. Oh, I really had fun doing that one with the accents were fun for me. I can't remember the name of the main girl who was having a wedding, but I enjoyed doing her accent. So let us begin reading. If I really need my glasses, I'll put them back on. Let us just do a little recap of what happened at the end. Oh, right. They're on the subway or so. Is it a subway? Yeah, subway entrance. She's chasing after Mr. Carr. One at a time, Samuel. Don't like, I know you want to do them all, but just try to focus on one at a time. I know it can be very overwhelming. Like I'm like, oh, I want to read this book, and then I want to do that, and I still have ones that I have to finish. And I'm like, not Nancy Drew ones, but other ones that I began, books that I love. But when you get so many different things going at the same time, it's similar to when I'm knitting. Because I want to make many different things. Sometimes I have very many works in progress. It's a bad habit to get into. Yeah, I don't like schedules either. Well, I don't know, because if I do have a schedule, I must commit to it. And I just felt like going live now. Why did I feel like going live? I don't know. I think I was looking at my fairy lights and I thought, I don't know what made me think of it. I just felt like it, so I did. So now, let us read the last two paragraphs of chapter 9. Nancy had to pause a moment to buy a token. A train stood in the station. Carr ran forward alongside, slipping quickly into one of the forward cars. The doors of the train were closing. Nancy leaped inside the nearest car just before the big door snapped shut. With a lurch, the crowded train started. So, we're on the subway. I hope the subway doesn't stop. I don't enjoy being underground ever in any capacity. But I especially get very when the subway stops for any reason. So I'm hoping this isn't a scary chapter for me. Little time check. Chapter 10. New developments. Nancy was wedged tightly between the passengers as the train. I would have put a comma there. Okay, let me start over. Come on, throat. Chapter 10. New developments. Nancy was wedged tightly between the passengers as the train, with a roar, picked up speed. Reaching for a strap, she caught her breath and quickly planned her next move. She must push through the crowded train and find Carr. Nancy gripped her handbag firmly and started to ease herself among the passengers. She excused herself frequently as she jostled men and women. Finally, she reached the car into which the suspect had fled. Suddenly, it dawned on her that she could not hold him alone. She must have help. I'll ask the conductor, Nancy decided, and stood on tiptoe to see if one were in sight. As she craned her neck, she saw David Carr slouched in a seat near the far door. Near him stood the conductor. Excitedly, Nancy moved forward once more. At that moment, the train started to slow for the next stop. In desperation, Nancy forged ahead. Suddenly, with a pitch that threw everybody off balance, the train jerked to an abrupt halt. The doors whipped open. Carr stepped out with the pressing crowd. "Stop that man!" shouted Nancy. The dark-haired one with the red tie. I wish that there was like nobody around who could hear me. I was in a house or something. so that I could really shout and scream. But there you go. The dark-haired one with the red tie. People around gaped, but no one went after him. Before Nancy herself could get to Carr, he had fled into the sea of humanity. I thought I was reading it wrong, but it does. It says sea of humanity. Before Nancy herself could get to Carr, he had fled into the sea of humanity, milling toward the exit. That was rather dramatic. I got to take a sip of 7-Up. I wish I was Stretch Armstrong. No, I don't. That would be really creepy. I just imagine myself with long. I hope your letter and thing. Oh yeah, me too. Did I check the mail today? Yes, I did. Well, it's Sunday. I try not to drink too much sugar, but I really felt like a 7-Up. Sea of humanity. When Nancy reached the top of the stairs, David Carr was out of sight. She searched in vain, then, disappointed, hailed a taxi to return to the Oregon restaurant. Nancy, cried Miss Drew as her niece arrived. Thank goodness you're safe. We feared Carr might have harmed you. Nancy told her aunt and Mr. Tallow about the chase. That wasn't a very long chase. As she finished, the detective hurried up to them. He said he had fallen over a stool that Carr had tossed at him in the kitchen. By the time he had reached the street, Carr had disappeared. Then he had searched the immediate area to no avail. All four drove to police headquarters, where the detective made out a report on Carr. At Nancy's suggestion, they telephoned the West Coast Trading Company in San Francisco. As she had suspected, Carr had not been working for them recently. Your niece certainly has a... You know, sometimes when you're missing some letters, it's like blanked out for some reason. It doesn't look like it's damaged. There's just no letter. Your niece certainly has a good... It's supposed to say head, but there's no trace of an H. It just says EA and the bottom part of a D, not the top part. So I was like, what? Your niece certainly has a good head on her shoulders, the police captain said to Miss Eloise Drew as she and Nancy left. Also, may I ask why we have to say her entire name? Why do we have to say Miss Eloise Drew? They say I'm very much like my aunt, Nancy said with a smile. But I'm sorry we didn't catch David Carr. Reaching the sidewalk, the Drews took a taxi to the former teacher's apartment. Next morning, Nancy suggested to her aunt that they tour Chinatown. I love Chinatown. Well, I've never been into the one in New York, but I like the one in Montreal, although I haven't been there for a while. Anytime I did go, I just love it. Recalling that the stolen vases discovered in Masonville had been wrapped in Chinese newspapers, Nancy wanted to go to the office of the China Daily Times and make some inquiries. When the two reached Mott Street, they located the newspaper office and went inside. Nancy asked a pleasant man the names of subscribers in Masonville and River Heights. He willingly told her, but neither John Manning nor David Carr was among them. Nothing came of that hunch, Nancy told her aunt, as they headed for a fine Chinese restaurant. As they finished a delicious 7-course meal, Aunt Eloise gave her niece a worried look. Wouldn't it be wise to give up the case and stay out of Carr's way, dear? She suggested. Nancy patted her aunt's hand reassuringly. Don't worry about me, Aunt Eloise. I promise to be doubly careful. Anyway, I'm going home tomorrow, and maybe he'll stay here. You have some palm tree lights in your room? Oh, you mean they're shaped like palm trees? Is that what you mean? I just had a memory. I used to have some chili pepper lights. Like they had red plastic chili peppers over the light bulb. I just remembered. I completely forgot about that. They were pretty neat. Cool. That sounds neat. I like palm trees. I mean, actual palm trees, but palm tree merchandise, may I say? um, cool. Yeah, I'd like to see them. Um, Actually, the young detective felt that if Carr and Manning were the same person, there was a good possibility he was already on his way back to the River Heights area. She would have to watch her step. You're going home, her aunt repeated. Oh, Nancy, I thought. Sorry, darling. I can't imagine calling my aunt darling. Sorry, darling, her niece said. A friend of Ned's is being married. Ned's to be an usher. I promised to drive up to Emerson and get him day after tomorrow. I hate to have you leave, her aunt said wistfully, but I bow to the younger generation. Now let's do some sightseeing. The following day, on arriving home, she was welcomed by a smiling Hannah Gruen and a barking, tail-wagging Togo. Ned telephoned just as Nancy started to unpack. Nancy plunged into a brief description of her activities. Wow, he exclaimed when she finished. You sound like a one-woman police force. Anyway, I'm glad you're back. I'd begun to think you'd forgotten about me. Not a chance, she assured the youth. I'll be at Emerson tomorrow by 12 o'clock. Okay. Yay, some Ned. Just gonna put this down for a minute. Check in. Ooh, it's still got a few pages to go. Yeah, we're going to Emerson. Oh, just to pick him up. Is she going to the wedding? I don't know. It's finally getting fallish. Okay, so since last year, not very often, but every now and then I see a white squirrel in my area, like not far from where I live, maybe on the street over here, or this, not very far away. I don't know if I keep seeing the same white squirrel if there's more than one. But yesterday and today, I saw a little white squirrel right next to me at the neighbors. They have like a ton of birds and squirrels hanging out there. They feed them, and they have all trees in the back, so it's very shaded, and no people ever go out there. They just throw peanuts and stuff. It's like the animals are in charge there. Anyway, I saw the little white squirrel hanging out in the tree. He or she would go up and down in the tree. And I saw him or her again today. And I'm like, oh, he's so cute. I'm just going to call him he. Because I've never seen many white squirrels. I looked it up, and apparently, I don't know, there's a White Squirrel Institute, and they went on and on in this article trying to explain how these white squirrels come about. And it's like some regular eastern squirrels, like the ones that are around here, the brownish ones with the white chest, or like the white underside, they can have a white baby, I guess. Anyway, they're really cute, and I hope that the normal colored squirrels get along well with the white squirrel, and that they don't treat him badly because he looks different. But oh, it's so cute. I keep calling for him. I'm like, Whitey, where are you, Whitey? My little white squirrel. He's very sweet. Not an albino, though. He doesn't have pink eyes. Now, where were we? Later, Nancy called Mr. Soong. The Chinese gentleman was shocked to hear that an imitation of his rare Ming vase had been sold to the Shenyang Oriental gift shop. He congratulated Nancy on her brave attempt to capture Carr and expressed the hope that the man would be apprehended soon. I think it's funny that the detective Like he never got out of the kitchen because he tripped over a stool, or somebody threw a stool at him. I think that's funny. The next day, when Nancy arrived at Ned's fraternity house, she was immediately surrounded by the various members. Having attended many parties there, she was well known and well liked. Ned's not here, one teased. Prof kept him after class. How about lunch with me? Say, you big so-and-so, called a youth, clattering down the stairs. Lay off. All of a sudden, I thought of a movie. Is it Revenge of the Nerds? The one with the blonde guy from Married with Children, Marcy's second husband, and he was also on Happy Days. Ted something. It's his real name. Anyway, he was in this movie, and he was like it was fraternity guys. Revenge of the Nerds was the sequel. So what was the one before? Just Nerds? Nerds? I don't remember. Okay. Forget I said anything. Ned appeared, grinning, turned Nancy around, and marched her back to the car. They had lunch at an attractive inn, then started for Ned's home, a few miles out of River Heights. On the way, Nancy gave Ned all the details of her search for a china clay pit near the leaning chimney. While they were going through Masonville, she suddenly asked Ned to stop. What's up? Ned asked. They were in front of the courthouse. I've been wanting to find out who owns that fenced-in property in the woods, Nancy replied. Let's go in to ask the registrar of deeds. Oh, fun. This is such a fun date, Ned. Or, Nancy, this is such a fun date, going into the courthouse to find deeds. Ned followed her up the steps and into the registrar's office. The clerk handed them a map and ledger. Together, they flipped the pages until they came to the entry Nancy was seeking. The records showed that a tract of land comprising some 250 acres, including the abandoned Civil War mine, had been purchased by Miles Monroe of Philadelphia 5 years ago. Miles Monroe! Nancy exclaimed in surprise. That's where he said he came from. Who's he? Ned inquired. And I'm inquiring also because I don't remember. A geologist I went to see about the china clay pit. Now I know why Mr. Monroe asked me to let him know if I located it. Sounds phony to me, Ned declared. Want to stop and see him? If you have time. I'm not due at the bachelor dinner until 7:30, so let's go. I'd like to see this Mr. Monroe and ask him what he means by trying to put one over on the world's prettiest detective. Ned, stop it, Nancy commanded. Oh, that was great. That was a wonderful little exchange. She's probably just saying it teasingly. Ned, stop it. Ned, stop it. They left the courthouse and drove to Miles Monroe's apartment in River Heights. As before, an eye stared through the peephole in answer to Nancy's ring. When the professor recognized Nancy, the door flew open. I completely forgot this guy. Now, what did he sound like? Ted McGinley. That's it. McGinley. Chief McGinley. Glad you called, he said. I have something to show you. But first, tell me why you came. Nancy introduced Ned, then quickly got to the problem on her mind. We found out your secret, Professor Monroe. My secret? He asked, perplexed. It's you who owns the old iron mine. Me? Exclaimed the geologist. Then he burst out laughing. I never owned a piece of land in my life. The property is listed as being owned by Miles Monroe of Philadelphia, Nancy told him. Who could this Miles Monroe be? The professor shook his head. Search me, he snorted. Search me. To the best of my knowledge, I was the only Miles Monroe in Philadelphia. Nancy felt sure the man was telling the truth. Since he could tell her nothing more, she put the puzzling question aside for the moment. You said you had something to show me, she reminded him. The geologist uncrossed his long, bony legs. Okay, he's an old guy, I guess. And limped over to the bookcase. He took out a thick volume that looked to be very old. Carefully, he turned the pages to a place he had marked. After you told me you were searching for a China clay deposit, the professor said, I came across a reference in this old book on geology. With Ned looking on, Nancy read the paragraph the geologist had marked. It told of a fine white clay that had been found 1 mile southeast of a crook in Huntsman's River during the days of the early settlers. Whew, 2 more pages, my friend. 2 more pages, my friends. Ted McGinley. Yep. Darcy, that was his last name. And Marcy became Marcy Darcy. Her first husband was Steve. Well, what was Ted McGinley's name on Married with Children? Marcy Darcy, because she married the other guy. What was his name? I have to look it up or I won't be able to finish reading. Ted McGinley. Hey, he's cute. Married with Children. What was his name? Jefferson. How could I forget Jefferson? Jefferson Darcy. And Marcy Darcy. So who's still here? Samuel, are you still here? Or have you gone off to, I don't know, look at your palm trees? Samuel, are you a moderator? Hi, Jake Boston. We are reading chapter 10. Add as moderator. Managing moderator? Standard moderator? I'm making you a standard moderator. Okay, Samuel? Well, we are reading. I see you. Oh, hi. Yes, hi, Jake, and hi, Todd. I was going to say Ted because we were talking about Ted McGinley, aka Jefferson Darcy. Now, why did I think of him? Oh, right, because of fraternities and nerds and things. Sorry, Cat. Who says that? Jefferson Darcy? I used to watch it, but not so much that I know any quotes from it. I remember the dog, Buck, I think it was his name. Okay, let's get back. Right, so we're reading chapter 10, and Ned is with Nancy now, and they're talking to the geologist again. Huntsman's River. That didn't sound like Nancy. Huntsman's River, Nancy said. Why, that must be Hunter's Creek. That's the stream which runs under Hunter's Bridge. Exactly. And the clay the book describes is China clay, or I'm no geologist. Thank you so much, Professor Monroe, said Nancy, rising to depart. Ned shook hands with the geologist. Nice to meet you, sir, he said. This sounds like a good clue for Nancy. When the couple reached the car, Ned suggested that they spend the next afternoon following the directions to the China clay pit. And how about Mrs. Gruen packing one of those super picnic lunches, he added with a grin. Nancy laughed. It's a date. Now, can we please hear what's in the picnic lunch? Because we didn't hear what Aunt Eloise and Nancy had for their 7-course Chinese meal. I would like to hear what that was. At 12 the next day, they started out. Nancy told Ned she had learned that no Miles Monroe was listed in the Philadelphia telephone directory. Her father had obtained this information. It's sure a mystery, declared Ned, but maybe we'll soon clear it up. Reaching Hunter's Bridge, Nancy showed him where to park and they locked the car. Taking the picnic basket, they started off, following the water upstream for a mile to a point where it swerved sharply. This must be the crook the book mentioned, Ned said. How about eating? Nancy nodded. She squinted at the position of the sun, then pointed to the left. And southeast should be in that direction. Half an hour later, the two explorers, their appetites well satisfied, set off once more. When they had gone exactly 1 mile, as the directions had indicated, Nancy stopped. The clay should be near here. Say, what's this? Ned exclaimed, bending down to examine a little gully. Do you suppose this is part of the old clay pit? We didn't hear what the picnic lunch was. The two stepped into the depression, overgrown with weeds and brush. As they did, Ned kicked against a piece of flat, corroded iron. Probably part of an old forge, he remarked. Just what we need, Nancy exclaimed. Oh, I thought she didn't like it. Just what we need, Nancy exclaimed. We can use it as a shovel. For what? Ned queried. To dig with, Nancy replied, pointing to the bottom of the gully. Ned dug. Finally, he said ruefully, Nothing here but a lot of gravel. This isn't a China clay pit. It's only... He stopped speaking as a wild cry pierced the woods some distance ahead. It sounded like bong. It says bong in italics, B-O-N-G. How can a wild cry sound like bong? I don't know. Bong, bong. I don't know. I don't understand. Can you see it? Or it says it sounded like bong. It's on this page, right? Yeah. It sounded like bong. Jefferson breaking the fourth wall. Like Mr. Roper on Three's Company. He always does it after he insults his wife, right? He says something insulting to her and then he's like, he laughs at the camera. So funny. But I'm a Furley girl. My favorite is Mr. Furley. Bong. Someone's in trouble, Nancy exclaimed, starting to run. A few moments later, she and Ned emerged into a clearing. To Nancy's utter astonishment, the 4-walled enclosure of boards confronted her. What? The 4-walled enclosure of boards confronted her. Is this an enclosure we've encountered before? Because it says the 4-walled enclosure. I'm a little confused. Oh, I forgot to say. End of chapter 10. A few moments later, she and Ned emerged into a clearing. To Nancy's utter astonishment, the 4-walled enclosure of boards confronted her. End of chapter 10. Oh, I can think of a bong, I guess it's more of a gong. You know, the guy in the orchestra who stands there for hours upon hours, and then he takes this little baton and he goes. There's also some old movies. I can't remember the name of the movie company, but at the beginning, it's black and white. Usually, yeah, it's black and white movies. There's like a guy and he has a baton thing and he hits the gong. Yeah, I guess that's a gong, not a bong. Wow, really exciting. So what was the name of that chapter we just read? New developments. Very exciting. I'm glad Ned's here. I'm looking ahead. Oh, I see the word bong again. They're going to hear the word bong again. I don't understand. It's crazy. Oh, you know what? Probably the wild cry. Yeah, it says the wild cry sounded like bong. It wasn't a wild cry and then the sound of bong. Like when I see the word bong in italics, I think bong, like the Gong Show. Am I supposed to, are bong and gong related in any way? Yeah. You hit something and it makes a bong sound. Ding dong. Right. When a doorbell rings, it goes ding dong. Bong, gong, dong, long. A noodle, a poodle, a doodle. I just did a quote from one of my favorite movies. It's called What About Bob? A noodle, a poodle, a doodle. Oh, I'm in a good mood because I have ice cream. The bong gong. Yeah. Billabong. Ramalama ding dong. Hot diggity. No, that's Perry Como song. Perino. Okay, so that was really fun. And was it yesterday that I read a chapter? I think it was. So I didn't forget too much, but I forgot the geologist guy. I don't remember anything about him. I kind of remember somebody looking through a peephole. Should we try another setting? Let's leave this one out for a while. Now what do I do? I stopped reading. What do I do? I don't feel like getting up and grabbing Perino. He's so lazy. He won't even walk over. I have new heart on in front of me. So if I look up, I'm looking at the TV. Well, I could read a poem or something. I have to go get a book, though. Do you want me to go into my bookcase? Well, I'm not going to go into the bookcase, but my hands are. And just like pick any book, no matter what it is, and I will read from it. Okay? I kind of know what books are on the top, what kind of books are in this shelf, what kind of books are in this shelf, but I'll just go and I'll grab. You can do polls in here. I don't want to do a poll. What should I do? Somebody tell me what I should do now. I mean, I could read another chapter, but I just feel like I want to do something else now. Like, look, it's 7:57. Look, love the lights, but the fast blinking would probably bother me after a while. Yeah, I mean, is it bothering you to look at it on the screen, or just do you mean it would bother you if it was on the wall behind? Yeah, that's a bit much. This setting goes through different things. Like, I wish there was one where the light at the beginning, like this light would light up, and then this light would light up, and then this one, like it would just, okay, that's hurting me. That's hurting me eyes. Why would anyone want that? Hey, oh, I'm not pointing at it. Excuse me. Let's see what happens if I turn my orange light off. I have an orange light bulb. That's why I'm kind of orange. Oh, wait, wrong way. Ooh, ghost stories. We could read a ghost story. I need the light on or I can't see. I mean, I can see a little, but it's hard on my eyeballs. I thought you were going to say, make up your mind. Make up your own poem. Oh, no. Like without With people listening to me at the same time? No, I could not. I like poems that rhyme. Okay, well, why don't we could write a poem together? Okay. Somebody come up with the first line, and then we'll all add on, like that game, telephone. Or, okay, how about, do we need a topic? First thing I looked at was my toaster oven. Should we do a poem about a toaster oven? Yeah, and let's make it rhyme. It doesn't have to be perfect rhyming. Okay, one of my favorite TV shows, and just like this is from my childhood. I had a lot of these toys, and there was a cartoon that went with the toys. It was called Gem, and it was about like these rock star girls. But all the dolls came with cassettes, and the TV show had like songs in it, and they had like hundreds of songs. And the guy who wrote the lyrics, I don't know, he wrote for Broadway and other things, but when he rhymed things, they were perfect rhymes. I don't know what you call it. There's like a term for it, but sometimes words kind of rhyme. You hear them in a song. They don't really perfectly rhyme, but this guy all of his lyrics are perfect rhymes. And I'm like, cool. It's pretty cool. Anyway, that's like some of my favorite music still to this day. So let's make rhymes, but not perfect rhymes. Okay, we're starting with toaster oven. Thank you so much, little toaster oven. That's the first line. I'll write it down, and then somebody will add. Thank you so much, little toaster oven. I read your message before you retracted it. I was like, is this about a toaster oven? It said something about a porcupine. The pressure's on now. Oh, I can't take it. I'm starting to get the pressure is making me hot. Thank you so much, little toaster oven. Now the next line doesn't have to rhyme, but the one after it does, because I said so. I'm in charge of this poem. Thank you so much, little toaster oven. What would I do without you? No, I don't like that. Where would I be without thee? Okay. I be. That rhymes, and I didn't mean it to. Where would I be without thee? Now, first thing I think of is coven. Lovin'. Coven, lovin'. See, you could use dozen, but it rhymes, but not beautifully. Wow, did you just come up with that? Oh, I don't want to kick a porcupine. If you kick a porcupine, wear a steel-toed shoe, or you may be likely to lose a toe or two. Oh, I can't with the kicking of the porcupines. But it rhymed nicely. Thank you, Fisher June, or June Fisher. Or you like to fish and your name's June. Or you like to go fishing in June. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Oops. Okay. Thank you so much, little toaster oven. Where would I be without thee? All right. I'm going to put that aside and work on it later. Oh, George Utley. George is my favorite character on Newhart. Good old George in his overalls. An episode played earlier where, see, George is the handyman at the Stratford Inn. He always wears the same clothes, but he always wears overalls. And in this episode, he was thinking about switching to regular jeans. And he did. And he had, well, his life, it was like a life-changing thing. But he went back to his overalls. Yep. He sure did. I'm just looking over there on the shelf. I wrote a limerick for my friend Cheryl. She used to live in Lisbon Falls, Maine. Cool. Well, you can share it unless it's dirty. If it's it has to be rated PG or something. There once was a woman named Cheryl who went over Great Falls in a barrel. Say what you will for such a cheap thrill. But it beats chasing pigs which are feral. That was silly, but I like it. Yep, that rhymes with barrel. Cheryl, barrel, feral. Well done. Oh, okay. Well, she lived on a farm, so that makes it even more fitting. Were there pigs on the farm? Oh, I have my laptop unplugged. Just checking. Oh, okay. I still got a lot of juice. I like pigs. They're cute. Piggy, piggy, piggy. Oh, I love this episode. Sorry. I'm not watching it. Yeah, so I guess that poem thing, I just kind of lost interest or something. Another friend had a potbelly pig, a pet that would come to school sometimes. Oh, neato. I love it when animals go to people places. They should always be allowed. Everywhere. I feel like I'm not losing interest, but I'm losing being in any way amusing or entertaining myself. I've been left to my own devices. It's a little scary. Yeah. What kind of ice cream do I have? What is it? Oh, well, I don't think you guys I know you're not all in the States, but I just assume people are in the States. Don't have a chocolate bar called Arrow. In Canada, we have a chocolate bar called Arrow. And I got some Arrow ice cream. It's got other stuff in it. And it's quite yummy. Yep. And then what did I eat today? Oh, I had some noodles with I put in there. Noodles with cheese and other stuff. Like I just put it all together and then I eat it. You know what I put on everything? Worcestershire sauce. I should learn how to say that word properly, but I just call it W sauce. That's my favorite condiment. Worcestershire sauce. I love the smell of it. I mean, it tastes good too, but sometimes I just take it out of the cupboard and smell it. If they made a perfume that smelled like it, I would wear it. I wonder if I could just like dab some on the way you dab on a perfume. But what if I got eaten? Roasted potato dices? Slices? Diced potatoes? Sounds yummy. Hey, you're back on the poem. I need this to read the, oh, yeah. It really makes a difference. Oh, okay. It's been 55 minutes and 23 seconds. So I think I'm going to wrap it up, as they say. I'm going to wrap it up and send it away. Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi. That's where I was trying to remember. I don't remember why I was talking about Garfield and sending cats away in the mail, but I couldn't remember. Garfield always threatened Nermal that he would send him to some place, and I couldn't think of the place. It's Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi. Thank you, Toaster Oven, for warming up my lunch, because if you didn't, I'd be hungry a whole big bunch. I don't know. Because dinner is in 5 minutes. I can't see what it says. Please, something. You keep retracting your messages. I'm still trying to read it. Anyway, I'm over the poem. If you want to keep writing it, go for it. Wait, what? Oh, no. I'm done with poems now. Oh, I'm done with the poem. You guys do it yourself. Yeah, I'm not a collaborative person in that way. Like, I could never, if I was a songwriter, I couldn't have a partner. If I was a comedy duo, I would have to kill my partner. No. Okay. I used to really like Abbott and Costello, but I've never seen any Laurel and Hardy. I love George Burns and Gracie Allen. Well, I'm gonna sign off because I'm sick of poems. Oh man, I wish I had somebody to switch all my stuff back the other way. I hope you enjoyed chapter 10 of The Clue of the Leaning Chimney. And next time we'll read chapter 11. Maybe we'll do 2. Sometimes I do more than 1 in a video. You never know. It all depends on how I'm feeling. My hands hurt. There's this little bone here that's like sticking out. I don't know if it's a bone or if it's a growth on my bone, but when I see the doctor, I'm going to be like, please send me to a hand person. Because I need these. I need my hands for things. All right. I'm procrastinating and hesitating because I don't feel like moving my stuff back. So the longer I stay here, I don't. Hold on, wait. Put it back. I like my microphone. You know what would be even better? If it was pink and sparkly. That would be pretty neat. I'm looking forward to Christmas already. I'm looking at banana I'm going to eat tomorrow morning. And, oh, it's 59:17. I will say aloha and turn it off before it gets to an hour. I'm going to go. When I end this, I always go and I edit. And if I've read a chapter, I put in the timestamp, because some people don't want to listen to me yap. They just want to hear the book. Totally understand that. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. I still don't know how to say your name. Sawata. So I'm just going to call you TW. Okay. Thanks, TW and Jake and Todd and Samuel, Samuel's always here in the beginning, and then he takes off without saying goodbye. How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. If you haven't, go and subscribe to Samuel's audiobooks. Also, my friend Anna, who reads Nancy Drew books, she's starting a new book that is not Nancy Drew. It's a nonfiction book, and she's very excited about it, and I'm very excited to share it with you guys when chapter 1 is ready. Okay? Okay. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday or whatever. Bye. Wait, I'll read this. Good night. Gonna get started on chapter 13 of Secret in the Attic. Oh, cool. I hope you enjoy it. Good night. Bye.